Have you ever wondered what happens after we die? The ancient Egyptians believed they had the answer, and it's hidden within the cryptic pages of the Book of the Dead. Join us as we delve into this fascinating text and uncover its secrets about the afterlife, the soul, and the journey to the underworld. For thousands of years, the Book of the Dead has captivated historians and archaeologists with its intricate depictions of the afterlife. Join us on an incredible journey through the ancient world as we explore the meanings behind the symbols and text, and unveil the hidden knowledge of the Egyptians about the soul's journey. The ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, more accurately translated as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, is not a single, unified text, but rather a collection of funerary spells, hymns, and prayers compiled over a period of more than 1,500 years, from the New Kingdom, circa 1550 BCE, to the Ptolemaic period, circa 30 BCE. These texts were inscribed on papyrus scrolls, linen shrouds, tomb walls, and even coffins, intended to accompany the deceased on their perilous journey through the Duat, Underworld, and ensure their successful transition into an eternal, blissful afterlife in the field of reeds. Far from being a morbid or fearful tome, the Book of the Dead was a practical guide, a spiritual passport, and a powerful protective amulet for the departed soul. At its core, the Book of the Dead reflects the profound Egyptian belief in an enduring existence beyond physical death. Unlike many other ancient cultures that viewed death as an absolute end, the Egyptians saw it as a transformative passage, a journey from the earthly realm to a spiritual existence alongside the gods. They did not believe in a simple cessation of being, but rather a complex process where the deceased, through proper rituals and knowledge, could overcome the limitations of mortality and achieve an eternal, blessed state. This transformation was contingent on the successful reunification and revitalization of the various components of the human being, not just the physical body, but also the intangible aspects like the ka, life force, the ba, personality, mobility, and the ak, glorified spirit. These elements, though temporarily separated at the moment of death, were believed to be essential for the individual's completeness and efficacy in the afterlife. To achieve this blessed existence, the deceased needed to navigate a complex spiritual landscape known as the Duat, or the Underworld. This was not a static place, but a dynamic and perilous realm teeming with both benevolent deities and malevolent entities. It was depicted as a journey through 12 regions, mirroring the hours of the night, each presenting its own unique set of challenges. These obstacles ranged from fiery lakes and rivers of blood, to dangerous serpents and monstrous guardians positioned at fortified gates. The deceased had to demonstrate not only their purity of heart, but also their intimate knowledge of this hidden geography and its inhabitants. Ultimately, this arduous journey culminated in the most critical phase, divine judgment in the Hall of Ma'at. Here, the deceased would face the ultimate test, where their heart, the seat of intellect and morality, would be weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the symbol of truth and cosmic order. This pivotal moment determined whether the soul was worthy of an eternal paradise or destined for utter annihilation. It is in this context that the spells within the Book of the Dead served as both a map and a toolkit for this journey. As a map, they provided the deceased with the essential knowledge of the underworld's geography, the names of its guardians, and the correct pathways to avoid danger. Each spell was a specific instruction or piece of vital information. As a toolkit, these spells were powerful incantations designed to grant the deceased supernatural abilities, afford protection against hostile forces, and ensure their ability to speak, eat, drink, and move freely in the afterlife. They enable the deceased to transform into various forms, like a phoenix or a lotus, to appeal directly to the gods, and to ultimately triumph over death itself, allowing them to come forth by day and bask in the eternal sunlight of the field of reeds. Deciphering the cryptic hieroglyphs and symbolic illustrations of the Book of the Dead reveals a rich tapestry of ancient Egyptian cosmology, theology, and eschatology. Each spell, or utterance, had a specific purpose. Some were incantations to open the mouth of the deceased, allowing them to speak, eat, and breathe in the afterlife. Others provided knowledge of secret names of gods and demons, granting the deceased power over them. Still others offered protection against various dangers, such as snakes, crocodiles, and other malevolent entities encountered in the underworld. A central theme woven throughout the Book of the Dead is the concept of the soul and its various manifestations. The Egyptians believed that a human being was composed of several interconnected spiritual entities. The Ka, often translated as life force, or double, the Ka was the vital essence that sustained life. It was believed to remain in the tomb after death, requiring sustenance, offerings of food and drink, to persist. Spells related to the Ka ensured its continued existence and ability to interact with the material world. The Ba, represented as a human-headed bird, the Ba was the personality, individuality, and mobility of the deceased. It could travel freely between the tomb and the heavens, visiting loved ones and experiencing the world. Spells involving the Ba often focused on its freedom of movement and ability to transform. The Ak, this was the transfigured, glorified spirit that had successfully navigated the underworld and united with the gods. The ultimate goal of the funerary rituals and the Book of the Dead was to transform the deceased into an Ak, a blessed and effective spirit capable of dwelling eternally with Osiris. The Ren, the true name of an individual, believed to hold power over their existence. Knowing one's Ren, and the Rans of gods and demons, was crucial for protection and control. The Ib, the heart, considered the seat of emotion, intellect, and memory. It was the only organ left in the body during mummification, as it was believed to be essential for the judgment in the afterlife. The journey to the underworld, known as the Duat, as depicted in the Book of the Dead, was far from a simple transition. It was a perilous and arduous odyssey fraught with challenges that tested the deceased's knowledge, purity, and resilience. This subterranean realm was envisioned as a labyrinthine expanse, traversed by the sun god Ra each night, offering both dangers and opportunities for rebirth. The deceased had to navigate through 12 distinct regions or houses, each corresponding to an hour of the night, populated by an array of fearsome deities, monstrous guardians, and malevolent spirits. They would encounter gates guarded by fearsome, often grotesque deities who demanded specific passwords, secret names, and affirmations of righteousness before granting passage. Beyond these gates lay other obstacles: fiery lakes that could consume the unworthy, rivers teeming with predatory creatures like crocodiles and hippopotami, and treacherous pitfalls designed to ensnare the unwary soul. The very landscape itself could be hostile, presenting impassable chasms or dark, disorienting passages. Crucially, knowledge of the correct spells and passwords was paramount for traversing these treacherous realms. The Book of the Dead provided these vital keys, an extensive repertoire of incantations, invocations, and declarations that served as verbal shields and magical passes. Without this sacred knowledge, the deceased risked being turned away, trapped, or even devoured by the myriad dangers of the Duat, ultimately leading to second death, a horrifying concept of true annihilation from which there was no return. The culmination of this perilous journey was the most famous and crucial part of the process, the weighing of the heart ceremony, vividly depicted in spell 125, often referred to as the Judgment of the Dead. This pivotal event took place in the Grand Hall of Two Truths, or the Hall of Ma'at, presided over by Osiris, the sovereign lord of the underworld, often flanked by 42 divine assessors, each associated with a specific sin. In this solemn court, the deceased's heart, Ib, believed to be the seat of intellect, emotion, and moral conscience, was meticulously weighed on a giant scale against the single, delicate feather of Ma'at, the goddess embodying truth, justice, cosmic order, and balance. The process was overseen by key deities: Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and the dead; typically guided the deceased and adjusted the scales. Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, writing, and divine records, stood ready with his palette and stylus to meticulously record the outcome of the weighing, an irrefutable divine verdict. Looming menacingly beside the scales was Ammit, the Devourer of the Dead, a terrifying composite beast with the head of a crocodile, the forequarters of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. Ammit patiently awaited her grim duty, to instantly consume the heart of anyone found unworthy, thereby condemning the deceased to the terrifying second death and eternal oblivion, a fate far worse than mere physical demise, as it meant the complete erasure of existence. Conversely, a pure heart, one free from the burden of sin and deceit, as affirmed through the negative confession, a declaration of innocence against a comprehensive list of transgressions, would balance the feather of Ma'at. This perfect equilibrium signaled the deceased's righteousness and adherence to cosmic order, thereby granting them passage into the blissful field of reeds, Aru. This was the Egyptian equivalent of paradise, a fertile and idyllic land where the deceased would live eternally in perfect harmony, reunited with loved ones, free from toil, and enjoying perpetual abundance under the benevolent gaze of the gods. The ethical dimension of the Book of the Dead is particularly revealing, offering a profound glimpse into the moral compass of ancient Egyptian society. Central to this is Spell 125, which features the famous negative confession, also known as the Declaration of Innocence. This was no mere casual recitation but a deeply significant ritualistic declaration where the deceased, standing before Osiris and the 42 divine assessors in the Hall of Ma'at, proclaimed their innocence of a comprehensive list of transgressions. This list of 42 declarations covered an extensive range of sins, encompassing not only overt acts like, "I have not stolen," "I have not killed," and "I have not lied," but also more subtle moral failings such as, "I have not caused pain," "I have not been greedy," "I have not polluted water," "I have not borne false witness," and "I have not turned back the water of a canal." This detailed ethical code indicates that the Egyptians valued truthfulness, social harmony, respect for others' property, and even ecological responsibility. This was not merely a passive act of denying wrongdoing but an active reaffirmation of a life lived in accordance with Ma'at, the fundamental principle of cosmic order, truth, justice, and balance. The expectation was that an individual's earthly conduct directly influenced their fate in the afterlife, highlighting a sophisticated moral framework where ethical behavior was a paramount prerequisite for achieving eternal bliss. It demonstrates that spiritual salvation was tied not just to ritual practice, but to a righteous existence. Equally vital to understanding the Book of the Dead's secrets are the elaborate illustrations, or vignettes, that accompany the text. Far from being mere decorative elements, these visual narratives were integral to the magical efficacy and comprehensive understanding of the spells. They served multiple crucial functions. Primarily as visual aids, they reinforced the meaning of the often cryptic hieroglyphs and provided a tangible, step-by-step representation of the spiritual journey. For those who might have been less literate, these images offered a crucial guide, ensuring the deceased understood the path ahead, the deities they would encounter, and the rituals they needed to perform or have performed for them. These vignettes depict a vast array of scenes, from the deceased interacting reverently with gods like Osiris, Ra, and Anubis, to offering sacrifices and prayers, and vividly navigating the treacherous underworld. Crucially, they meticulously illustrate the pivotal judgment scene in the Hall of Ma'at, showing the precise arrangement of the scales, the deities involved, and the terrifying presence of Ammit. Other scenes might show the deceased engaged in pleasant activities in the field of reeds, such as farming the fertile lands or being reunited with family, offering a visual promise of the blissful afterlife. The vibrant colors and intricate details of these illustrations not only offer a glimpse into the sophisticated Egyptian artistic conventions but also reveal their profound symbolic language. Every gesture, every object, every animal depicted held deep religious and magical significance, breathing life into the abstract concepts of death and rebirth and making the journey to eternity a visually conceivable and emotionally resonant experience for the ancient Egyptians. The ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead is far more than a collection of funerary texts. It is a profound testament to a civilization's enduring fascination with life, death, and eternity. By deciphering its cryptic hieroglyphs and symbolic imagery, we uncover a sophisticated belief system that provided comfort, guidance, and hope to the deceased. It reveals a world where the soul was multifaceted, the afterlife a perilous but navigable journey, and moral conduct essential for salvation. The Book of the Dead stands as a timeless monument to humanity's universal quest to understand the ultimate mystery, what lies beyond.